Hi everyone, welcome to a new session. So today we are going to discuss about forensic psychology. Sorry, psychology. So what is forensic psychology? So forensic psychology is the application of methods, theories and concepts of psychology within the legal system. So this is forensic psychology. So forensic psychology is the application of methods, theories and concepts of psychology within the legal system. And this looks at impact of police officer, victim, juror, expert witness, lawyer, judge, defendant, prison guard and or parole officer on the legal system. So I'll write here looks at impact of police officer, victim, juror, expert witness, lawyer, judge, defendant, prison guard, or parole officer on the legal system. So basically, forensic psychology means we are applying the concepts of the psychology within the legal system. And if you want to, like, if you want to investigate the case through knowing the behavior and knowing the personality, knowing the mindset of the criminal, you can use the concepts of psychology and for proving the particular case. So while speaking about the history of forensic psychology, we can say that mm, history. So in history of forensic psychology, like american psychologist like in 20th century. So they're relatively disinterested in applying the research topics to the law, and throughout early 1900s, the legal system restricted intrusion by psychologists into the courtroom. And after that, in 1911, several psychologists they testified in a Belgium court on behalf of a man accused of raping and murdering a little girl. So that was the case, and this is the first case in which the experimental psychological data in was allowed to be presented in the court. So first in 1911, before 1911, like in 1900s, that is the 19th century, they they restricted the legal system restricted the intrusion of psychologists into the courtroom. And in 1911, Belgium court they first allowed to present a court case using this psychological data. And in 1913, the use of psychologists in US correctional setting recorded in New York at a woman reformatory. So main job of psychologist at this time was to determine if the person was feeble minded. So to identify whether the culprit, whether the person who is accused, whether they want to check, like psychologists want to check whether they are feeble minded or not, like whether they are normal people or they have any mental issues. Then in 1916, 1916 and to 1917, Louis Terman, he is the first American to use Mendel test as a part of law enforcement screening test, like law enforcement. So Louis Terman, he used Mendel test for law enforcement, and the first case were an American psychologist qualified as an expert was in 1921 in the case of, like in 1921 in the case of State versus Driver. So although the evidence was later thrown out, this gave psychologists a foothold. And in 1922, Karl Marx, he is the first psychologist to testify civil trial, and he offered testimony on the psychological issue of reaction time in a train accident case. And in the case, the train's engineer was accused of drinking alcohol prior to the accident. And in 1940, in the US only, like precedent for psychologists testifying as an expert witness on competence and criminal responsibility. And this case overruled an earlier lower court's decision to disallow a psychologist testimony. And in Canada, first correctional psychologist they hired in 1955 at St. Vincent de Paul Penitentiary. And Hans Toch, he is the first psychologist to edit a book on psychological criminology. So his name is Hans Toch. This is important. You have to note this down. This is ND. So here, he's the first psychologist. He edit a book. That book's name was Legal and Criminal Psychology. So this is in 1960. Hans Toch, he edited the book Legal and Criminal Psychology. So this book was on psychological criminology, and this is considered as the first book about psychology and the law. So this is the first book of psychology and law written by a psychologist. So this is the history of forensic psychology. So once again I will repeat, like this in 20th century, that is before 1911 and 1900s, the psychologists were restricted to enter into the courtroom, and whatever the experiments given by them were not uh, taken admissible in the court. So you know the price case and all. It's related to psychology only, that the lie detection thing. So it is related to psychology only, but they didn't allow at that time. So in 1911, Belgium court, they allowed to testify one case regarding the experiments of psychology. And later in 1930, US correctional setting, like in women reformatory, they were allowed to determine if the person was feeble minded or not. And in 1916 and 17, Louis Terman, he did the mental test for law enforcement for as a screening test to get the cases, to solve the cases. And the first case, like in 1921, American psychologist qualified as an expert in 1921. And in 1922, Karl Marx, he was the first psychologist to testify the civil trial. So like an drinking alcohol, drunk and drive, like that. Trains engineer, he drunk and before the accident, like that. And in 1940, US psychologist testified as an expert witness in one case, and in Canada in 1955 they hired one correctional psychologist, and Hans Toch, he edited a book regarding criminal psychology in 1960, and the name of that book was Legal and Criminal Psychology. So this book is considered as the first book about psychology and the law written by the psychologist. So this is about psychology. And what is psychology? Psychology is the application of methods, theories, and concepts of psychology within the legal system. So that is forensic psychology. And what is the difference between a forensic scientist, forensic psychiatrist, and a forensic psychologist? So how forensic psychology is different from this forensic scientist and forensic psychiatrist? So forensic scientist, usually he like scientists usually analyze the things, compare the things, identify the evidences, and interpret the physical evidences. So that is the main duty. So they identify the evidence and linking this with the suspect. And what is forensic psychiatrist doing? So here they apply psychiatry to law, and they give expert witness regarding this in court, and application of medical treatment in forensic setting. So main important thing is that medical treatment. So they can give medical treatment in forensic settings, and the persons who are feeble minded, if they commit crime, they can give treatment for those people, like a reformation or rehabilitation, like that. But psychologist will not do like this. So who employs forensic psychologists? Like who are the employees of were all the need of forensic psychology? Like in federal, state, and local government and facilities like prisons. So usually the psychologist will be there in prisons, jails, police departments, correctional facilities, probation and parole, then military, etc. And in treatment facilities like drug or chemical rehabilitation, then short or long term residential facilities, counseling centers, mental hospitals, etc. Then you can see a forensic psychologist in court, then consultants you can see like self-employed or private practices, then in teaching, like in colleges, universities, and one psychologist will be there for counseling and all in criminal justice and all. So the psychologists mainly they work in these areas for giving counselings and like giving motivation and for mainly for giving counselings. So forensic scientists they will link the suspect with the crimes, crime evidences and all. And forensic psychiatrists they will give medical treatment, and act as an expert witness, and they can mainly give medical treatment. But the forensic psychologists, they will be in all areas of this criminal justice system and in hospitals, teaching area and all for giving counseling. Then other next topic is subfields of forensic psychology. Subfields of forensic psychology. So here, clinical or forensic psychology. One subfield is that clinical or forensic psychology. So it is very similar to clinical psychology. That is, the clients here are not only suffering from some type of mental problems, but their issues are of importance to legal decision making as well. And the second one is development psychology. So development psychology is that, like in juveniles or the elderly and the low. So it mainly focus on policy making rather than treatment of those with mental problems. And the third one is social psychology. So here it concerned with how jurors interact and arrive at a group of decision. And fourth one is cognitive psychology. So here it associated closely with social psychology subfield on, and but it, like it more looks like into like how people make decisions in legal cases. And fifth one is criminal investigative psychology. So here, like police psychology, criminal profiling. So you know well about criminal profiling. We discussed in one session, and that comes in forensic psychology and psychological autopsies and all. And experts may choose to conduct research or work closely in analyzing the minds of criminal suspects. So everything related to investigation, criminals, suspects, and all comes under this criminal investigating psychology. So these are the subfields of forensic psychology. First one is clinical forensic psychology, more or less related to clinical psychology only. Then development psychology, mainly concerned with juveniles, and social psychology, concerned with jurors, how they interact and arrive at a group decision. And cognitive psychology, it associated with social psychology only. And criminal investigative psychology, this is police psychology or criminal profiling, criminal psychology, like that we can see. So these are the subfields of forensic psychology. So this is an introduction about forensic psychology. Once again, I'll repeat. So what is forensic psychology? This is the application of methods, theories, and concepts of psychology within the legal system. And mainly it looks at impact of a police officer, victim, juror, and expert witness, lawyer, and all. And mainly the history is like starts from 1911, and now it's full-fledgedly used by court, but not all the psychological methods are not admissible in court now also. And one book, and which is very important, Hans Tosh, he edited a book, first book on criminal psychology. The name of the book is Legal and Criminal Psychology, so you have to note this down. And what is the difference between forensic psychologist, psychiatrist, and forensic scientist? So forensic scientists mainly analyze, compare, identify, interrupt, and they will link the suspect with these physical evidences. And psychiatrists mainly, they are concerned with medical treatment, rehabilitation, reformation for the criminals. Then forensic psychologists, they are mainly concerned with counseling, and also they will be posted in prisons, jails, police departments, correctional facilities, then military. And they mainly in treatment places like drug and chemical rehabilitation. Then as a consultant in court, teaching in colleges, university, and all. Then subfields of forensic psychology, mainly five types, five subfields are the clinical forensic psychology, development psychology, social psychology, cognitive psychology, criminal investigative psychology. So I hope you understood about like the just this definition, and just an introduction. This was just an introduction. So in coming sessions we will discuss this in deep. So I hope you understood. If you have any doubts, you can clearly ask. So thank you.